What better way to make your case than a video where you can say what you really want to say? First of all, I just want to say how much I really appreciate you extending this opportunity to the XPS team and hiring internally. I can't think of a better person to step up and take Matthew's shoes than someone who's been in this program, who's seen the good side and the bad side, and has ideas for improvement. So thank you sincerely. Alright, well let's just jump right into it. So the first question is, what do you believe is working today and requires minimal or no improvement? This one for me was a really easy question because I can't think of a better answer than the people who make up this team are by far the best part of this team. I think that we represent the Samsung brand well. I think that we work together very well. I think that our consumer engagement is on point because we relate to the Samsung consumers. We are the demographic. And I really truly believe that the best part about this team are the people. Next question, why do you think the people who have left, and how can we retain top talent? Okay, I started this team in September, but I've actually been a part of the Samsung experiential marketing for almost 2 years now. I actually was Matthew's assistant manager before they switched over and started using Talent Line or 2020 or whoever. So I've actually been around for a while. And something that I've noticed about working with 2020 versus other companies that I've worked with Samsung is that there seems to be a lot of, I wouldn't use the word instability, but there seems to be a lot of muddled information. I think that when this team was hired and there were about 80 people on the team, and then all of a sudden, 50 people get chopped without any real explanation, was my understanding from my coworkers. I think that that's very confusing. And then I think when we switched from 2020 to Talent Line, again, with no heads up, with no explanation, with no warning, that was very confusing. And then I think that also when we had the issue with our checks over this past first quarter, I think that that also stirred up some questions and confusion. So I really think that the people who have left, which some have left organically through promotions and finding other employment, but I think the people who have left with a reason is because I think that 2020 has lost trust with the XPS team because there have been so many curveballs. And I think that that is fair, but I don't personally believe that 2020 or Talent Line or Samsung has an agenda regarding the XPS team. I just think that there has been a lot of confusion. So to retain top talent, I think that what 2020 needs to do, as well as Talent Line and Samsung, is just to be very transparent going forward with the XPS team. I think that there needs to be consistency, and I just think that there needs to be kind of a rebuilding of trust that was unintentionally maybe lost between the XPS team and 2020. And I think that there are many ways to reestablish that trust. I think that this program has a bright future with 2020, and I personally want to continue to work with the top talent because I think that we have it. Okay, next, what characteristics do you think the best XPS have? I think that there are 5 main characteristics. The first thing that I've noticed among the top, or who I would consider the top XPS, the very first characteristic would be punctuality. I think that punctuality in this industry is extremely important. Being where you say you're going to be, when you say you're going to be there, doing what you say you're going to do, all of those things. I think the next thing that you have to have in this position is energy, and a lot of it. And I think that the top guys have it. I think that energy everywhere from from starting an activation in the very beginning to finishing the activation, but also energy behind the scenes and really getting on your reports, really getting your expenses in on time, which also ties back into punctuality. But I also think that good energy is a great quality that top XPS has. I also think that the top XPS team members encourage one another. There are definitely people on the team who, for one reason or another, have negative views on certain things, and they tend to harp on that. But there are people on the team who truly encourage other people on the team. So not only do they succeed, but they help everyone around them to succeed too. I think professionalism is also a huge thing in this industry that a top XPS would have. Professionalism, again, in their reporting, in the way that they handle consumers, in the way that they address outside people that we're working with, such as PMK or Viacom or whomever. I just think that professionalism is very important. And lastly, I would say that a good XPS is a yes person more than a why person. We are asked to do a lot of things. We have to be very flexible. And I think that most of the time, the people who answer with yes tend to get things done quicker and more efficiently than the people who are always asking why. So those are my top things. I would definitely say punctuality, someone with energy, someone who encourages the team, someone who shows professionalism, and yes people. Who besides yourself do you consider to be in the top of the XPS team and why? With a huge smile on my face, I have to say I think that Jonathan Chan is one of the top, if not the top, XPS team member. He is extremely knowledgeable of the Samsung product, more than almost anyone else on the team. He's very helpful, he's considerate, he's encouraging, he's punctual, he's loyal, he's kind, he's good with consumers. I think that Jonathan Chan really has it going on in this role, and I definitely consider him to be a great friend, a great coworker, and a great XPS. Okay, here we go. What changes would you recommend making to the program? And please give them a priority level. So something that has been incredibly frustrating to me since I started this position is that every other marketing position that I've ever held has always been about numbers. A plus B equals C, 1 plus 1 equals 2. You do get a return on your investment, and marketing is an investment. And so something that has been very frustrating for me is that we as an experiential team do not see numbers like, for example, the salespeople do. So I can see all sides of that, and I think that I have a better grasp on this than almost anyone else on the team. I truly understand 2020's position between the XPS team and Samsung. I understand that it's hard to go to Samsung and to ask for raises for individual people when you don't exactly have the numbers to back those raises. I totally understand that. So the first change that I would recommend making to the program is trying to find a way to make our team more objective. I really think that we can. I know that a lot of what we do is very subjective, but I really feel like our team almost needs to be justified and to be taken just as seriously as the FSM program. I think that it was at South by Southwest, we actually had a Best Buy pop-up, and I thought that that was the best thing that has happened in this program since I've started, because when we sold out of products, they could say, hey, these people really are making a difference. Now, I am not at all in any way suggesting that the money that we spent on that Best Buy pop-up, on each individual XPS salary, on flying every single person to Texas to do that activation, on the setup, on production, I'm not at all suggesting that all of that money was justified by those phone sales, but that is at least something objective that we could take back to Samsung and show them. I'm a very creative person. I'm probably the most creative person on the team, but I'm also extremely logical and I'm very numbers oriented. So I would really like to see a way that we could make our team as a whole more objective. And I don't even mean that by individual people. I know that a lot of people are caught up in their own personal results. But my thing is that if every single person on the XPS team performed at 110%, we each got a pat on the back and a trophy or whatever, that's well and fine and that's great. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything unless our team as a whole is helping Samsung's marketing and growing their sales numbers, because at the end of the day, that is what marketing is for. That is what marketing is about. It truly is about numbers. So I would really like to kind of figure out a way, whether it be more pop-ups like we saw at South by Southwest, where we could actually get real numbers, but somehow I would like to make our team as a whole more objective and brainstorm through ways to make that happen. So something else that I would like to see, and I've actually started seeing it recently, I was pretty excited about that. I would definitely like to see more concrete ideas and a more concrete plan, because it seems like we've always kind of been flying by the seat of our pants which has, for the most part, surprisingly worked. But I really think that we need more structure within this program, and I think that is so important. So I think that the most important thing that we need to do is to figure out a way to justify the program to get the results, to get Samsung the results that they need and that they want to see from this team. But after that, I would definitely say that we need more structure. And again, we've kind of already been seeing that, so pretty pumped. The final question here almost ties up everything that I feel like I've said. How would you recommend increasing local XPS activity, and how do we expand the XPS program inside of Samsung? And again, it all goes back to numbers, so I would definitely say increasing local activity that somehow ties back into sales, into direct numbers. So really, I think that we just need a very creative person to sit down and actually look at the opportunities that we are already exploring and to also create new opportunities. I don't think that we necessarily should stick with the plan that we have now, that everybody just kind of come up with whatever you can and then go out and do that. I think that that could get very messy and that could make the brand look very sloppy. But it's definitely a start. But I definitely think that we need someone, again, someone creative, to kind of sit down and actually form a list, to form some ideas, to say, hey, here are several ideas, you can pick these. Or, they could even be season specific, so here are examples of things that you could do in the fall, here are examples of things that you could do for summer or whatever. Or they could even be around sports, For football season, this is what we'll be doing. For basketball season, this is what we'll be doing. The thing is that in every single community, there are definitely opportunities for XPS, and we just need to open our minds and open doors and explore more of those opportunities, but again, in a structured way, in my opinion. And how do we expand the XPS program inside of Samsung? Again, Samsung is a retail brand. They are selling products to consumers. Our job is currently just for brand awareness and product knowledge and to kind of put that on consumers. But I really think that we could expand the XPS program within Samsung if we can really show Samsung what a difference we are making at these activations and also in our communities with a structured, logical, number-oriented program. And that is kind of how I see the future of XPS.